Good afternoon, everyone. It's 2:05. We have representatives here for the commission members. I'd like to get the meeting started. Could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to do a roll call of the members and designated representatives present, starting with Suffolk County.
Sarah Lansdale here, representing County Executive Steve Ballone.
Okay. Town of Brookhaven,
myself, Ed Romaine, and Emily Pines are here representing Brookhaven.
Town of Southampton,
Hi, Janice Shearer. Here representing Supervisor Jay Schneiderman.
and Town of Riverhead.
Hi, Vet Aguirre, Supervisor, and with me is Deputy Town Attorney Dan McCormick.
Okay, thank you very much. This is the Wednesday, November 16th, 2022 commission meeting. I am Judy Jacobson, the Executive Director for the Central Pine Barrens Commission. We will be recording, obviously, this meeting through Zoom, which will then be posted on the website. Minutes will also be taken, and that will also be on the website as well. We'd like to start with item 1, administrative and public comment. Public comment, for those wishing to speak at this point, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you would like to speak, please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. We'll start with those present, and I see
Brown.
Keith Brown would like to provide comment.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, commission members. I'll be very brief. I'm here today to talk about the application that my office is handling. My address for the record is Keith Brown, Altman DeLeo, LLP, 538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301 West, Melville, New York, 11747. So the project is located at 911 Flanders Road in Riverside, New York. It is the vacant Getty gas station located on the traffic circle just across the street from the McDonald's and directly adjacent to the State Trooper Barracks. I think you're all familiar with the traffic circle and this particular lot. That is because the lot has been vacant for approximately 10 years. Very important to note that my clients have owned the property. This is a family-owned entity, and they've owned it since 1965. The Getty ceased operations about a little over 10 years ago. And since that time, they have been actively watching and waiting to see whether or not sewers were ever going to come down either Riverside or down Flanders Road. And unfortunately, they kind of, because of what has transpired, the opportunity to have sewers come down and be able to connect this property have not materialized. So a couple of years ago, they were approached by 7-Eleven to redevelop the property with a new gas station and a convenience store, and we've been actively pursuing that matter. We recently filed for SECRA approval, and there was a referral made by the town of Southampton to the Pine Barrens Commission. This property is located in the compatible growth area, but I should note that the property has been cleared and has been completely cleared since 1965. With one exception, Julie Hargraves reminded me that there is a mature tree that's located in the back corner of the property, which we will make every effort to maintain. So I simply want to come on today just to ensure the fact that the commission received our private planning report that was prepared by Jefferson Murphy, AICP, and it's the amended date on that is May 21st of last year. And I simply wanted to point out to the commission that the property is located in the town's highway business zoning district and is also situated within the Riverside Overlay District. However, pursuant to the town zoning code, the applicant has elected to develop the property under the underlying highway zoning regulations. And that's important because under that provision of the code, it is up to the applicant to determine whether or not they want to pursue the underlying zoning district or apply the overlay district. So in this case, they elected to go with the underlying highway business district. So the use is permissible under that zoning category. And ostensibly, I had reached out, I had spoken with Julie the other day, and I just wanted to make sure that you had the updated information. And otherwise, I think the jurisdiction of the commission is somewhat limited in this case, and we just wanted to make sure that you had all the proper information before making a decision. So with that, I'll conclude. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Yes, we did receive the materials that you had sent, and Julie Hargrave did distribute it to the commission members. Right now, we're just responding to, from what I understand, a referral letter from the ZBA. Julie, is that correct? And in addition, we got some other correspondence.
That's correct. Yeah. And a secret coordination arrived on Monday. So the commission could respond to that as well. But yeah, at this point, it's just a ZBA referral.
Right. It's not an application before the commission. We're just responding to referrals that we received. Okay. Is there anyone else thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to speak at this time? I don't see any hands. Angie, is there anyone on the phone?
No hands, no one's on the phone.
Okay, and we did not receive any comments by email as well. So we'll get on to item 1B, the minutes for February 16th. I need them. Is there any corrections or changes that the commission members have on the minutes? Okay, could I have a motion to approve the February 16th meeting minutes?
Motion.
Is motion by Supervisor Aguiar. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Janice. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So we move on to item 2 on the agenda for science and stewardship, where we will have the report outs from our different divisions, starting with the New York Wildfire Incident Management Academy. For the Spring Academy, Kathy Manlangoni.
I think she had to do some running around, so she's probably not on.
Okay, so I apologize. The commission members and reps should have received the materials related to the academy in the e-packet. So we will move right on to the item 2B under the Education and Outreach Program. Melissa Perot.
Thank you. Nice to see you all. I'm happy to report that schools are 100% opened up. I've been able to not only go into the classroom, but take some students out into the field. So that's getting back and revving up. So I see myself in the next couple months getting more and more out with the students out in the field. Regarding to Barrens Bay Summer Camp, very excited. It's we're in our mid prep for this year. It'll be our 11th year partnering with Wertheim Wildlife Refuge. Again, it'll be 6 weeks of summer camp, and it will run from June 27th through August 12th. We're looking very much forward to it. I'd like to thank Judy and John Malazzo for helping revisit the MOU with Wertheim Wildlife Refuge. And also we're creating a hold harmless document with the Friends of Wertheim, as we're all partners in this camp. We are booking up. We have 3 sessions already booked up and 3 that are close. So it's a real popular place for the youth to come. As far as the Long Island Natural History Conference, right as I was wrapping up my update to you, there was a change of plans. So as we were looking to do a virtual type of conference, we actually are putting that to bed, and we're going to put our efforts into a in-person conference next spring. So we will not be having any type of conference experience this year. Day in the Life, believe it or not, it's turned into a year-round event. We also, right now we have Save the Great South Bay, who's in the process of some spring inventories and data collection. And we have our dates already for 2022. Again, as always, you're all welcome to attend a certain site. We'd love to have you there. Thank you again. Supervisor Romaine is always a huge supporter. And we have a new partner. It's such a popular program that the Nassau County Water, Soil and Water, and the town of Hempstead is looking to incorporate our program in some waterways along the South Shore in Hempstead, town of Hempstead. As Earth Day and Earth Month ramp up, I'll be doing a couple speaking events, including Southampton Library Supervisor Schneiderman. I'll be talking about climate change on Long Island and a case for optimism. And I'd like to highlight the efforts of Southampton Town. You're doing a great job when it comes to the climate smart communities. And also I'll be speaking on a national level, identifying local leaders and fostering transformational networks. And a real exciting project I'm working on, which actually includes many of you here. We are creating a short video, 5 to 10 minutes, for our annual Cooperators Luncheon. And this year, as you know, it'll take place on June 3rd. So our hopes is to create, or we are creating, a video of day in the life of the Pine Barrens Commission to really highlight what the staff does, what the commission does. So we will be reaching out to all of the commission members if we haven't already, and hoping that you can participate in this video. It's actually turning out great. Next commission meeting for in April 20th. I hear we're potentially back in person. So we'll be doing, be videotaping that meeting. Just some quick highlights of what you do, showcasing the meeting in itself and just showing you guys the commission members in action. It won't just be shown at the cooperators meeting. It'll also be highlighted to the public as much as we can through website and press, just to showcase what we do and really highlight the important work we all do. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Does anyone have any questions for Melissa? Moving right along, item 2C, Science and Stewardship Division, Polly Wiegand.
Good afternoon. So the Science and Stewardship Division has been highly focused on our prescribed fire program and hiring related to that. Jade Blenau, who was the ecological field specialist part-time, resigned in January and took a full-time position with the Peconic Estuary Partnership. And so in her place, we have hired Sam Acapora, who we are happy to have on staff. She has worked with us in the last couple of years as she interned with the DEC, both in invasive species and forest health initiatives. So she rolls right into our program with experience working with our staff and our programming. So we wanted to welcome Sam. I also was remiss in my progress report to highlight that Sabrina Cohn, who has been with us previously as an intern, and then we hired on part-time last year, has been promoted into a full-time ecological field specialist. So she has been a great asset, and we're proud to be able to offer that full-time position. So the other hiring that we've been focused on has been for our prescribed fire squad. So we're very excited. This is an important milestone, as well as having a full-time ecological field specialist on staff. Eric Horn is serving as the squad boss and the lead of our prescribed fire squad, who will be on from March through May 31st. So Eric, as I mentioned, he has a wealth of experience working out west on wildfires and hand crews and helping to conduct prescribed fire, and serves as a qualified squad boss in that capacity. So he's running the lead in the squad boss position. And then our firefighters, our type 2 firefighters, include Rod Bagan, who's a Long Island native. He's lived in Oyster Bay and worked for Nassau County Police Department for many years, where he headed up the emergency response related to medical care in that capacity. He's recently retired from that position, and he also worked with us significantly on prescribed fire operations with the DEC's volunteer prescribed fire crew. So he has a wealth of experience with the operations and logistics related to how prescribed fire has been conducted on the island. Taylor Kern has been a hotshot for 2 years out west and returned to Long Island in the Farmingville area, and is completing her degree in advanced paramedic care and emergency care. So we're excited to have her on board too. She's been a regular attendee of the NIWEMA program, and also I believe has helped teach classes as well. So very well experienced. Patrick Bowman, I would say that Eric and Ron and Taylor are all here on the meeting, and I don't know if their camera is open, but they could give a wave if they are. Who's not joining us today, but who we've hired on staff, is Patrick Bowman, and he's not joining us today because he serves as a firefighter in collapse-based rescue and technical rescue for the New York Fire Department. So he is still tweaking his schedule so that he can join us on prescribed fires and aligning that schedule with ours as far as his primary responsibilities with the FDNY. He also served in a prescribed fire crew for a couple seasons out west, so also has a wealth of experience in that capacity that helps to bolster our prescribed fire operations. And then Emily Pulio, she is away on vacation, something that we knew of hiring, but she comes in as a previous county employee, seasonal employee, monitoring endangered shorebirds, the piping plover. So she has a wealth of field experience and will be rolling into prescribed fire training next week, along with the rest of the crew and the Science and Stewardship Division. So we welcome all of our new staff. It's quite exciting and equally overwhelming to suddenly have so many more people on staff. And we look forward to really helping support prescribed fire operations with this dedicated crew within south of Currents, where we'll be commencing operations in the beginning of April, and then rolling into operations in Sarnoff West in Southampton, just south of the town of Riverhead. And the burn plans for the Sarnoff West has been approved by the state. And as you reviewed last commission meeting, we have advanced the seeker review, and I will be providing the findings from that at the next meeting, allowing us to move forward with prescribed fire implementation in Sarnoff. We've also been focusing a significant amount of our time of getting the final details related to equipment and putting the cache together so we can mobilize. So some great pictures of the cache that have been provided in your report. And we've also been conducting the important education and outreach to the public, to the council representatives, and also to the fire department. So we met with the Flanders Fire Department, and they were very excited about the opportunities to put prescribed fire on the ground in the area, and had been wondering what has taken us so long. So the last component that we've been focusing on is the wildfire prevention home assessments. Sabrina's been doing a great job in heading that up. As of April, we'll have 11 assessments completed to help fulfill the requirements of our U.S. Forest Service grant, and ensuring that people are prepared as much as possible in the event of the next wildfire in their home protection. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Polly. Moving on to the next item under Science and Stewardship, item 2D, the USGS Commission Water Resource Program. Irene Fisher is here today to provide a presentation on the work that's being performed under this agreement we have with USGS that the Commission help to fund a portion of the water resource monitoring within the Central Pine Barrens area.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Judy. I'm just going to stop my video so that I don't have any problems with trying to put the presentation on at the screen at the same time. So thank you for the introduction. Yep, this is our hydraulic monitoring network that we have within the Pine Barrens. As you mentioned, the objective of this was a monitoring project that we started in 2017. So we're in the 5th year of the 5-year project. And it was designed to expand the current monitoring program that was already in place in the Pine Barrens. And it was a joint effort between the Central Pine Barrens and the town of Brookhaven. We got together about 5 or 6 years ago and recognized that there were certain data gaps within the current program. And this particular project was designed to help fill those data gaps. So as mentioned, so the other 3 big items of this project were to provide all of the data accessible to public. And then it's also helped there, you put on some baseline water resource conditions to assess those hydrologic changes and trends that we may see within the Pine Barrens region. And then also to provide a data resource to monitor the eco-hydrological stress within the environment. And this database is available to all the water resource managers across the island and is proven to be quite the comprehensive database. So this is the monitoring network that's spread out across the Pine Barrens currently. The program today that we're focusing on is including the stream water chemistry that has been added in the Peconic River at near Connecticut Avenue, and also downstream at the Riverhead Gauge, which is located behind Snowflake and the pizza shop in that area. Then we also have 5 locations that we're monitoring stream water quality along the along the Carmen's River. And those sites were pointed out in the comprehensive Carmen River management plan. So that's following the plan there. We're also monitoring an additional 5 water levels that are enhancing the monthly groundwater measurements in the area, as well as this one continuous groundwater level monitor that is located near the headwaters of the Carmen's River. Let's see, so the next one here. So just to go over our project timeline, as I mentioned, we started collecting the data in October in 2017, and this current project ends September 2022, so this year later. There are 3 locations along the Carmen's River that extend a little bit beyond this season, so we'll have an extra season of data collected there. We've also been publishing on an annual basis the data that have been collected, and the 2021 data are currently in review, and we anticipate that they'll be released in summer 2022. All of the data that we've been collected over the last 5 years will be summarized and presented in an interpretive report, and we expect that to probably be done with our review process and released to the public in winter 2024. I'm going to begin with the precip and how that's relating to the current stream levels. That's the thing that we can visualize the easiest from just taking a walk around in our backyards there. Up here are 2 monthly measurements for the entire state for February 2022, so last month, where the dark green on the left is the percent of normal precipitation. So anything that's in your dark green values, those are going to be above typical precip values. And then the lighter colors would show you a little bit more closer to normal and then to the drought. And then if you look onto the right-hand side, this is USGS data. These are the monthly stream discharge measurements found across the state. And each one of those dots represents where there is a USGS stream gauge. Dark blue, those are your sites that are above normal for stream flow. Green would be closer to normal, and then any of the colors below that would be more so in showing more of a drought condition. Long Island down here, most of our sites are all in the green, so this is all the normal discharge measurement, which coincides with about the near normal or just above precip values for the month of February. These can be further looked at. This is the Carmen's River and the Peconic River. This is the stream discharge measurements over the duration of the project. The years are listed down here on the bottom of the x-axis, and I just want to make sure you see that the discharge measurement, like the stream flow, the scales are different for each one. So for the Carmen's River, it's a slower moving river. It goes from 10 to 70 cubic feet per second, whereas the Peconic River can get up to as high as 100 cubic feet per second. So those scales are a little bit different. The percentiles are explained down here on the right-hand side. So the drought season would correspond with the dark browns, and higher than normal flow is up in the dark blue. These percentages are being able to be shared with you because we have several years worth of data. If you look at the length of record to create the statistics, we're looking at nearly an 80 years worth of record of recording stream discharge on these two rivers. The black line in the center of each one will show you where the current discharge is happening right now, or actually recorded, I should say, for the past few years. So for the Carmen's River, right now we're in a period of normal flow. And the same is for the Peconic River. We just reached into it. Moving ahead. So we're in the process of updating our the delivery of our data. And the idea is to help try to make this a little bit more user-friendly for the public to look at it. And this is just a snippet for any of our water resources that are on, or those who are continuously checking our water levels or visualizing data. You may have come across these pages by now. Right now, what we're showing you here, these are our real-time water data delivery for the stream sites. And the percentiles are still the same as we had in the previous record there. When you zoom into the locations, you can flip around on the legend on the right-hand side, and there's a little bit more of an explanation on each one of these are. I'm just touching about it just so you can see the differences. By all means, please, if you have other questions, please reach out to contact us. We'll be more than willing to walk you through each one of these. But what we've also highlighted here, and we had a little bit of a pop-up, we took a screenshot to show you that our sites, as in the previous slide, are in the normal range. We're doing this now too for the groundwater levels across Long Island. These again, these are the real-time groundwater levels. So we have a few of those across the island, and the statistics are the same as in the stream discharge. And you can zoom in and click, and it'll give you a summary statistic for the percentiles of what we're seeing here. Our groundwater levels for the current setup right now, our water levels are within normal range. I'm going to focus now on the continuous water level measurement that's being made up near the monitoring well. It's near Artist Lake. Again, this well level was selected, this particular site, excuse me, was selected to provide additional data on understanding how the groundwater level changed and where the start of flow might change for the Carmen's River. It's a direct link in that sense. This is the newer type of way that we're also showing our data, and where the current conditions are here are in purple. Are in the dark blue here. These are from the year starting March 2021, and it runs to January 2022. The yellow are the most recent ones. These data are currently in review. And this jump up here, this is water, so this is groundwater level. I want to point out 47 feet. We have 48 feet and then 49 feet. This jump is real. This is something that we would have missed if we had just had a monthly measurement or an annual once a year water level. So adding continuous water level to our groundwaters gives us this additional precision in understanding the conditions that are occurring within the water levels. This data is pretty crucial for helping to answer any calls that come into water resource managers. Sometimes we have a really heavy flow or a heavy precip event that will raise either water levels or even the stream discharge. And this type of information can be easily accessed and help answer out those types of questions. Number one, the big one that we seem to get a lot of information to is like basements flooding. So we can turn to this type of information and help answer those questions. Other ways that we've been delivering our data are still available. This one is it's the same idea as the graph that we had shown before. You can see where the values started becoming continuous since the start of the project. And on the right-hand side, Again, these are the same percentiles that we saw for the stream discharge, and these percentiles, the statistics, these are being able to be transcribed to you because of the decades worth of information that we have to get a better sense of where the water levels will have remained. Your triangles here, this is the average water level given for that month, and then the red values are the continuous water levels that are being recorded as we speak. Let's see. All right, I'm going to switch to flip now and go into the water quality portion of the project. We've been following the same sampling regime for the last 4.5 years on both rivers. The Carmen's River is monitored on a quarterly basis. And again, this follows the Carmen River Comprehensive Management Water Plan. If I'm saying that correctly, I apologize. I think I put a couple of those words out of order there. But anyway, it's a seasonal basis, and we've already collected our fall and our winter sample, and we still have the spring and the summer to go. The Peconic River is sampled twice a year, and it's on a seasonal basis looking at fall and spring. During each collection, we are monitoring for pH, dissolved oxygen, the water temperature, in addition to all the species of nitrogen and inorganics. We've been alternating on an annual basis here, the pharmaceutical and the pesticide analysis. So last year it happened in the spring. This past year it happened in the fall. And that's an additional collection. So the types of things that we can do with the data, we've been starting to explore what we've been seeing with the water quality as we're getting to summarize the data. And one of the ways that we can look at it is we can take the inorganics information and we can use what these things called Piper plots. And that gives us an idea of some of the source waters and review instantaneous changes from a site to site basis. So to begin, like what we would do is we would take the chemistry of the sample that we had received, like calcium, magnesium, sodium, or even potassium. And depending what those concentrations are, they'll map in either this triangle or this triangle. And then when you bring them up together, they come into this larger diamond. And depending on where it's mapping, you can have, it'll give you a little bit of an idea that maybe if they're mapping this location, it's more representative of very fresh, shallow groundwater. We'll have our deep groundwaters on the right-hand side. If that's where if the chemistry shows up there, there's more of sodium and chloride that's based in your sample, and which could be more of a marine influence or just road salts in general. And then on the top, when we have samples plotting in this location, we start seeing other types of land use factors, such as maybe fertilizer, because there's more calcium and sulfate in there. So these are some preliminary plots that we've been working with for the chemistry for the Carmen's and the Peconic River. The Carmen's is on the left-hand side and the Peconic is on the right. And we have a rainbow chart here, starting with the most upstream sample in the Carmen's, which is at Bartlett. That sample is collected off of Bartlett Road. For those who are familiar with the area, it's right off the side of the road. And then going down to the blue site, that tidal portion, that tidal spot, that sample and location is just south of Montauk Highway in Shirley. So looking at the combination plot, I'm not going to go too far detail here, but we will see that Bartlett plots closer to where the marine influence or the salt water, that's the sodium chloride. Again, remember where that sample was actually collected, just off the side of the road. As the water starts moving downstream, it plots closer to where there's more of a freshwater influence. And then as we travel further down the stream, we come back down to where the tidal location is, again with the sodium chloride. Looking at the Peconic River, the very further upstream site, which is at Connecticut Avenue, that is near, I know Peconic paddlers used to start their big canoe trip over there. I'm not even sure if they're in business anymore, to be honest with you, but there's also the Grumman properties in there. There's a lot of DEC preserved land. So the chemistry is actually, we have a wider variety of what's going on in this area. And this one, we're still trying to understand the dynamics of the area, but it's closely related. That's probably the freshest groundwater that we have at this point that it's coming out of the stream. And then as we get further downstream, just behind in the more urbanized area of the river, the chemistry comes together a little bit more and we see more of a marine, or the sodium and chloride waters. Some couple differences here to point out too. These things are important because over time, like I said, it can give you a quicker snapshot of changes that are happening on a site-to-site basis. And it's also interesting to look at these things too, to remind yourself that our streams on Long Island, they're all groundwater fed. So in effect, the Carmens and the Peconic River, if you want to look at it that way, they're almost like an outcrop of our groundwater table. So it's a quick way to get a sample to understand like what is going on underneath the groundwater. And this is why it's so important. We can look at these things on a site-by-site basis. It may also help us to identify changes that we see in other places by reviewing the data in this way. Because if we had, let's say, in the average chemistry on what to look at, we can point to these a little bit more quickly as soon as a point starts falling outside of these ranges. And lastly, I did mention that we were sampling for pesticides and pharmaceutical data constituents. I'm not going to go over those in detail today, but I wanted to bring to your attention how other water resource managers are using our data to help understand their own studies. The Ludwigia, which is the water primrose, is pretty invasive. It's present in the Peconic River, and the DEC started they had a pilot project to try to eradicate or control the Ludwigia near the Edwards Avenue boat launch. And they were using this particular type of herbicide, Clearcast and Procylacor. We've been analyzing for Clearcast in our groundwater and in our surface water programs across the island for several years now, and we've never once found a detection for it. So this is interesting because now the DEC is using this new particular pesticide, and it was just opportunities, and we were able to collect our last sample we collected in the spring prior to their application of the pesticide. And then we collected again in the fall after their application. So this type of information is going to help them understand whether or not the particular herbicide is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, taking care of the primrose and degrading as it's reported to degrade by the makers of the material. Those data are in review, but again, stick to with having, with the DEC, like I said, we're working with them. We'll provide that information that will also be summarized in the report later this year, or next year, I should say. Lastly, as I mentioned that this project, the data that we presented to you today is a summary of the work that we've been doing with the Central Pine Barrens Commission and the town of Brookhaven, but the additional monitoring that is going on within the Pine Barrens is also funded and supported by Suffolk County, the Suffolk County Water Authority, LICAP, and the DEC, and I would just want to make sure I mention that. I also am joined on the phone today by my colleagues, Ron Buscelano, Amy Simonson, Natalie Chung, and Amanda May. They're also on the line, and we would be willing to take any of your questions at this time, or if not, please take down at least mine and Amy's email addresses, and you can send us a message after the meeting. So that's all I have. Judy, I'm sorry. I think you are muted, and I am in the process of trying to unshare my screen.
Sorry about that. I was asking, does anyone have any questions for Irene or Amy at this time? You can use the raise your hand feature. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was great as usual. We really appreciate all the work that you folks at USGS are doing, and we really have been very happy to be partners with you on this effort, and we hope we can continue.
We do too. We'll see you at the June meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so moving right along to item 3 on the agenda under planning, land use, and the Pine Barrens Credit Program. 3A, the supplemental draft generic environmental impact statement for the comprehensive land use plan amendments, notice of completion and scheduling public hearing. Julie Hargrave.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So the commission has prepared a supplemental draft generic environmental impact statement for the comprehensive land use plan amendments. And presently it is acceptable for public review. So in the package today, this item is on, there is a notice of completion resolution. Just a note that the resolution, the agenda noted 2 public hearings, but you'll see in the resolution that there is a proposed, the proposal is to have 1 hearing. And now we have learned it will be in public on April 20th at 3 p.m. at Riverhead Town Hall. So that is, and then the comment period, the deadline for comments will be open until May 31st at 12 p.m. noon. And that'll give the public over a month to submit comments in writing on the EIS. And this document will also be posted on the commission's website later today. And each of the town clerk's offices and libraries, local libraries, including Longwood, Riverhead, Hampton Bays, West Hampton Beach, and Quogue will be receiving copies as well. So there is, again, a resolution in the package for this notice of completion and to schedule the public hearing for this plan amendments environmental impact statement on April 20th at 3 p.m. Does anyone have any questions?
Supervisor Romaine?
Julie,
And Supervisor Aguiar too, yeah.
This will be at Riverhead then on April 20th.
Riverhead, April 20th. Yes, so we will need to correct also the commission's meeting schedule. We found, you know, Riverhead would be the most central location. So the meeting was planned in April it was listed to be at Southampton, but that has been changed to Riverhead, if that's acceptable to you, and not by Zoom anymore. So we didn't know that until, you know, this morning, if it was going to be Zoom, but we had planned. Angie has secured the room at Riverhead to have this public hearing in person at that location.
Supervisor Aguiar, did you have a question?
I think you're muted, Supervisor.
yes. Yes, I do. It was the same question as Ed Romaine. I'm in the process now that I just heard of it, making sure that our boardroom is open. And
Yeah, it's available. They have confirmed it.
oh, they have confirmed it? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Well, we'll double checking just to make sure.
Okay,
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's for sure. All right, thank you. Okay, so is there any other questions or comments from the commission members or reps? On that note, could we have a motion to approve the draft resolution on the notice of completion of the SDGEIS and scheduling the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Supervisor.
Supervisor Romaine. Is there a second?
Sure, I'll second.
Second by Jay. Any other comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, which makes me very happy. Okay, so we will have all that on for the April meeting. Moving along on the agenda, item 3B, Compliance and Enforcement Division. Tim Huss is not present today. He's out of the office. However, you did receive, if I recall correctly, Julie's nodding yes, that you received a copy of his report in your e-packet to review. And of course, if you have any questions concerning the information, you can reach out to Tim Huss with any of your questions. The next item on the agenda is item 3C for the Land Use Division. Julie Hargrave.
Thank you. There are two pending applications or applications that will need decisions soon. The Sunrise Wind that has a deadline of May 18th, and also 59 Ryerson Avenue that is proposed to have an extension that will be on the agenda later. And the commission has received two referrals that are on the agenda today and continues to receive other inquiries and referrals that will be on the next meeting. And I just wanted to mention that I did make a presentation at the New Jersey Pineland Short Course on Saturday, March 12th, on environmental planning in the Central Pine Barrens. And that went well. There were about 15 to 20 participants, and they seem to be listening well. They have questions on the credit program most of all, but so I appreciated that experience and getting people to get familiar with the Pine Barrens. Usually every year, this is an annual event that I think other staff have participated in other years, and I went this year, so thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
You had this, right?
Yeah. The item 3D, the credit program update, Jerry Taverdi.
Thank you, Judy. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to give you a brief update on the credit program, recent activities for this year. So 2 easements have been recorded. We generated 2.2 credits. We have a few easements under review currently, and we are following up on the previously issued letters of interpretation to encourage the applicants to participate in the program. 24.25 credits have been redeemed, and that include 9.65 credits in the town of Brookhaven for increased residential density project. Those were the credits purchased earlier through an auction from the clearinghouse. 17.46 credits have been conveyed within. Sorry, does someone have a question? 17.
No, I think we're just getting feedback from open mics.
All right. So 17.46 credits have been conveyed with an average price of 98,000 in the town of Brookhaven, 75,000 in Riverhead, and 80,000 in Southampton. And the total average price for 3 towns is 93,000 per credit. One of the easement application we have is Reach Gospel Church in the town of Brookhaven. The credit application was submitted years ago, and we couldn't proceed with it due to the clearing issue on the property, which is in a form of encroachment of the parking lot from adjacent property. Finally, the consent order was executed on January this year, and the remedy includes removal of the sheds, stone, and RCA from the cleared area, placement of native Pine Barrens seed mix on the disturbed area, installation of a split rail fence to delineate the edge of the parking lot. After all this completed, we would be able to place conservation easement on the property. So the spring is coming, and we're planning to resume monitoring of the easement sites, and we're going to start in the town of Brookhaven. In terms of financial report, it's still 2.5 million in the bank. And the interest build up for the first 2 months of the year was $412. So that's all I have. If you have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Right, moving right along on the agenda, item 3E under core preservation area, the Sunrise Wind Core Preservation Area, compelling public need, hardship. Julie?
Thank you. The commission received material on March 3rd in response to comments received at the, or provided at the public hearing for this project on February 16th. And the material was distributed to the commission and posted on the website. It mainly addresses the alternative routes that the applicant explored to as an alternative to the preferred route, and explaining that they have avoided these alternative routes because they either cause significant adverse impacts of some on some environmental subject, including traffic and road closures, the impacts on residential neighborhoods, and other resources such as wetland habitats and cultural resources. So they have provided information in response to the staff report and some of the commission's concerns expressed at that hearing. And today we're proposing to close the hearing and either have the decision. Also, I want to mention that the hearing transcript was distributed to the commission and also posted on the website. And so this is on to close the hearing. No comments were received during the written comment period, and either have a decision April 20th or the deadline is May 18th. So that's an update on that project. And I guess we may need a formal motions to close the hearing. Is that correct, John and Judy?
Make a motion, to close the hearing.
Thank you.
Is it also closing the record as well, John?
Yes.
And then it'll be on for decision at the next, on the April meeting or
Okay.
May. Which one? April. May.
If there are no new issues and the commission feels a hardship has been established, you could adopt a resolution at the next meeting approving the application. You give staff time to prepare it, and you could be on for April. There's no reason to hold this back if the will of the commission is that it conforms and the hardship's demonstrated.
Okay, do we have a second
Okay,
to Supervisor Romaine's motion?
Riverhead second.
Can you repeat the motion? Was it to close the written record? Is that what it was?
It's to close the hearing record.
So what we did, Jay, was, excuse me, Supervisor Schneiderman, what we did was we held the hearing open with the ability to reconvene and receive more public comment depending on the written submission from the applicant and then any public written comments we received. So the written comments were received from the applicant. They're posted on the website. We haven't heard anything new. There's no new issues raised in there. They've addressed all of the concerns of staff, identified why they chose the route they chose. So the next appropriate step would be to close the hearing, close the written record, and then put it down, mark it down for a decision at the next meeting. So to close both.
No, it's just odd to me to close a public hearing when you're not in a public hearing.
What we did was, it is odd, but this is the commission, and what we did was we kept it open depending on the information provided and whether there was a sense from the commission whether you needed more public comment on the project. So it gave an opportunity for the applicant to provide more information to the commission, which has all been made public, all posted on the website. The whole world could comment on it. And being that there's been no comment and the issues have been addressed to staff satisfaction provided to the commission, there's no reason to reconvene the public hearing.
And the comment period was closed March 11th, just to be clear about that. If I didn't mention, I'm sorry. So
Not a problem, not a problem. So what we're trying to do is, and we're learning as we go, we're trying to figure out a way of having this process because the commission meets once a month. not have this like endless cycle of meetings just to close hearings or to push back projects so that they have to be until you get a point where the record and the hearings closed and the decision deadlines all align.
Just procedurally odd because the written record's already closed. And the public
Written record-
hearing, was the public hearing adjourned to a date or it was closed as well?
It was basically subject to call. It's essentially what they did. Was we said, we're gonna have this hearing if we need to continue it based on what comments we receive. They'll call it and have the public hearing in April. It was an effort to expedite the project in the review process and give everyone a fair and adequate opportunity to be heard on information provided by the applicant.
All right, it doesn't seem like there's really any action required. You need an action to reopen the hearing. But
We need an action, that is not correct. There's an action needed to say we will not be having the hearing now, which was subject call, will not be called. There will be no more hearing. And this matter is now marked for decision.
okay, you're the attorney, so it's fine.
It is fine.
Thanks, John.
Sorry.
So can I get a motion to that effect?
Motion,
Made a motion, I'm looking for a second.
Riverhead seconded, I think.
Okay, so motion by Supervisor Romaine, second by, is it Dan or?
I'm fine.
Oh, there you are, I'm sorry. A second by Supervisor Aguirre. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now we get on to item 3F under compatible growth area. We have a couple of referrals from the Southampton town that Julie Hargrave will go over. The first one is from the planning board for JSC Resources Inc. subdivision. The second one is a ZBA for 911 Flanders Road.
Thank you. So the first one, JSC, is just a planning board referral of the final map for this 3-lot subdivision. It was a lot that could be further subdivided in a 20-lot subdivision called Sophia Place, approved in 2005. And this is a positive outcome. The applicant has redesigned the subdivision map, including the 3 lots and the driveway to be placed in the common driveway, to be placed in a cleared area and to avoid clearing any of the existing natural vegetation that's left on this 3+ acre property. And it's about half vegetated. So this appears to conform, and there's just a simple draft letter in the package to express some minor comments, and looking for your authorization to send that letter. And
Do we have a motion to send the letter to the planning board, Southampton Planning Board, regarding the referral for JSC Resources Inc.?
Janice, you're okay with this, right?
Yes, absolutely. There was a question as to the amount of fill being placed on the site, and that's not really part of the standards and guidelines here in the commission, but the planning board will be addressing that in the subdivision. So I did speak to the planners about that. So yeah, this is good. Thank you.
All right, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Schneiderman, second by Supervisor Romaine. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The second item for the ZBA for 911 Flanders Road LLC.
this is a site plan for a 7-Eleven gas station and convenience store, 3,000 square foot convenience store. This is on the site of a former gas station, as Mr. Brown pointed out earlier in the comment section. It's in the Highway Business Zoning District in the Riverside redevelopment, revitalization plan area. The commission received a referral from the Zoning Board of Appeals, so we have a draft response letter with some comments to the back to the zoning board, and also the commission received after that referral just a couple days ago a secret coordination for lead agency. So if you authorize this letter, if we could add a response to that coordination, that the commission, typically defers lead agency in the compatible growth area. So we would be amending that letter to make note of that, deferring lead agency to the Zoning Board of Appeals who sent the coordination. And then,
Oh, yeah. Actually, the planning board may want to take lead agency just as a aside, but I don't know how that, you could say zoning board of appeals because they're the ones that referred it, but also you could say and or planning board just to cover it, because they may defer the lead agency to the planning board according to like how the meetings have been going at least.
okay, thank you, Dennis.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve sending the letter for 911 Flanders Road with those changes indicated?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Dorian Dale, second by Supervisor Romaine. All in favor?
I think I'm gonna abstain on this one.
Okay. Any opposed?
What do you think we should do?
Okay, so the motion carries.
Just because it's in front of the planning and the zoning board of my town.
Okay, so the vote would then be 3-0-1, with one being the abstention by by Supervisor Schneiderman. The motion carries.
Yeah, I'm not crazy.
And then item G under is 59 Ryerson Avenue subdivision compatible growth area non-conforming 2-lot subdivision on 3,500 square feet in A2 zoning. Julie Hargrave.
This is, there was supposed to be a public hearing today, but the applicant asked for it to be postponed. So they have asked to have the hearing May 18th and then extend the deadline to July 20th. This is it.
Can I have a motion to adjourn the hearing to May 18th at the applicant's request, and to accept the applicant's request to extend the decision deadline to the July 20th commission meeting?
Motion. I'll move it.
Okay. Motion Dorian, second Supervisor Romaine.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And of course, we get to item 4, which is that hearing is postponed. We get to the second public comment section on the agenda. Anyone that would like to provide comment at this time, please use the raise your hand feature.
No hands are raised and no one phoned in.
No phone, no email. Okay. So that brings us to the end of the agenda. We have a need for an advisory session. So I'd like to have a motion, and we won't return to conduct further business in public session. So I would like a motion to adjourn the meeting to go into advisory session to receive legal advice, and we will not return to public session.
So
Motion
moved.
to adjourn.
Okay, who was first?
It's okay.
Supervisor Aguirre, and second by Supervisor Romaine. Thank you. Okay, and then Angie will be sending a link for the advisory session. Is that correct, Angie?
That is correct.
Okay.
You need to call that vote.
I guess thank you. Sorry about that. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you Supervisor Schneiderman for reminding me. All right, so we'll see you in about 5 minutes. We'll see you momentarily.
Right,
Thank you.
All right, goodbye.
bye-bye.